Good evening, everyone. My name is Tokwe, and we're going to be looking at introduction into mobile testing. So today is going to be more like a crash course because we're going to be going through a lot of things, and it's just so that you understand, that we have some other elements into software testing. And I'll also be touching upon, so there are going to be two parts to it, right? We're going to do, one part is going to be mobile testing. The other part is going to be more of API testing. So it's a crash introduction. So if you don't understand anything, you can ask questions, or you can, at the end of the call, at the end of the training tonight, you can Google and find out, whatever you don't understand. So yeah, so basically, we're going to be looking at quickly. I'm going to be very fast because it's a lot of things to cover. What is mobile testing? Types of mobile testing. The types of mobile application, the types of mobile devices, the challenges of mobile testing, the best practices, categories of mobile testing, and mobile testing tools. Yes. So if you fail to hear me, just type in the chat bar. And then I would, resolve the issue. Okay. All right. So now I think it's best that we make this more interactive so that it doesn't seem like I'm the only one talking. Someone was asking. I think the question was, please, is this the part of software testing? Yes, it's a part of software testing. So software testing involves, many aspects. It involves testing application that you see on your laptop, on your iPad, on your mobile phone, even in the TV set, or even your Skybox. Someone is testing that. Your Virgin Box, someone is testing that. Your Netflix, someone is testing that. So in my software testing, in itself, it's a very huge area, and it involves quite a number of things. So for instance, if you're working, you can be testing software on an aeroplane. You can be testing software on a submarine. You can be testing software in a banking application. You can be just imagine in medicine, in all facets of life, or you have technology and you have software that needs to be tested. But emphasis tonight is going to be focusing on mobile applications and all that. Right now, we know that, as you rightly know, we all have mobile applications, we all have mobile phones. There's need for us as software testers, to understand that we need to, if a product is being released into the market, these days, because 86% of the global population, we are always on the phone. You're on your bed, you're on the phone, in the car, you're on the phone, everything, our life revolves around phones and mobile applications these days. So a lot of people, a lot of products, most products now, have mobile versions of the application running on phone, on different systems and all that. So we have the different types of mobile operating systems. We have the Android one, which, we have the iOS, the Apple products, the BlackBerry. I don't know whether they still exist. We have the Windows phones, and then Symbian is also, very, 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 very rare these days, right? So these are the kinds of operating systems, and these are the things that you need to take into cognizance when you are doing mobile testing. All right, so mobile apps are not so that types of mobile applications, right? We have the mobile web. So when we talk about the mobile web, we are talking about web applications that are not real applications. So they're actually websites that you open on your smartphone. So for instance, now, if you open your Safari on your iPhone, you type in amazon.com, right? That is a web app, yeah? Now, you can open your Yahoo, Gmail, BBC, news or iPlayer on your phone browser, right? Now, so the thing is that I'll just gloss this quickly. There are cheap options. So because the thing is that you are delivering there are cheaper options because you have only one application, right? You have a URL. this URL is, it can be deployed to work on a laptop, on a laptop device. It can also be deployed to work on a mobile phone and all that. So, so it's just, you're just building one application, that fits all purpose. You can deploy, you can access it anywhere, right? So easy for deployment, easy update. Just one, just one application. If you, if you want to sort issues on a mobile, on the application, the web application, you just release, the updates, and it works on anywhere. You can access it on any browser. There's no installation required. The problem is that if there is a, if your website goes down, then that's it. You won't be able to access it. Yeah. So web apps are web applications that open on browsers, right? So that's just that in a nutshell. So native apps, are those apps that you go to Apple Store, Play Store, all those stores that are on the mobile phones, that you go and download applications, those applications to use them. So we have examples of Facebook, Spotify, your banking apps, so the benefit is that they can be accessed outside of your browser. So, basically we all, these days now, you just click on an icon on your phone, Spotify, you listen to music and all that. So the thing is that one other feature of these applications is that, they are able to access the full features of your device. So, these days you can, you can open, applications with your face. They can, you can send, they can pick up your contact lists, they can use your GPS and all that. And they can also send you notifications, So for instance, with Apple Pay now, you can use Apple Pay. You can actually use Apple Pay while you don't have any data on your phone, So because the application resides on your phone, it stores all the information on your phone. And when you go back to a place where you have data, then, these things, it notifies you of your spendings and all that. And then it makes use of, push notifications, all these notifications. For instance, on a daily basis, you see maybe Apple News, sending you notifications, or BBC or CNN or whatever, sending notifications of news, or maybe Twitter. They're sending you notification that somebody made a tweet and all that. So they make use of push notifications and all that. They alert you of of new information and all that. So the native apps maintain UI design, for each operating system. So the thing is that you have to, as a tester, you have to ensure that, okay, all right, this application, let's say the application has been developed with Spotify, you have to test it, across a variety of devices, operating systems, and platforms, right? So the downside, as compared to the one that we talked earlier, the web apps, is that there's high cost. You have to spend, there's a lot of money being spent into the development of these apps. So and then there's also the time and effort to test them, to make sure that they run on iOS, they work on Windows, they work on Chrome, they work on Firefox, Safari, all those things. No. I'm mixing, not on Firefox or Safari. The downside is that you have to test them on different types of phones. Maybe the latest version of iPhone, the latest version of Samsung, the one that was released 20 years ago that some people are still using, the one that people are using were using in 2020, 2011 and all that. So some people have old phones. So that's what I'm trying to say. Now, even though you might publish native apps, you want to keep the mobile website maintained as well. So the thing is that a lot of applications now, you have the native app version, and you also have the web app. So for instance, Amazon, you can access it on your browser. You can also download an app on your phone to access it. Yeah. So hybrid app is just sitting between the two. So it is neither a web app and it is neither a native app. So it sits in between the two. The benefits are, it is a cheaper option. It's sitting between the two. Maintenance is simple. You can find it in the App Store and all that. So they're just they sit in between. These are more like, as I said to you, example is like Amazon. Amazon is an hybrid app because you can access it from your browser. You can also download it as an icon onto your phone and then access it as well. So that's it. So we have, when it comes to testing, right, we have different types of mobile devices. We have the real devices and also the emulated devices, right? So now the real devices are the physical phones that you have on your hands. And you know the advantages, you know, for you to, so for instance, if you want to, so imagine that you you are deploying an app. Let's say the app is let's say the app is let's say the app is Amazon, right? Now, so for instance, Amazon is deploying that they are deploying, okay, let's call it XYZ app, right? So you are deploying XYZ app. Now, the XYZ app is an app that is being used by people of age, let's say, okay, let's say it's a dating app, right? So a dating app, it could be people from, let's say, from whatever age, 18 to 70 or 100, if they want to still date each other, right? Now, you have a wide range of age group. So and it is virtually impossible. It is going to be, it's not that it's impossible, it's going to be very costly for you to get different combinations of phones, of devices, of browsers, of operating system to be able to test it, right? So in mobile testing these days, right, people don't use physical phones anymore. They have what they called emulated devices. So these emulated devices are devices that are hosted in the cloud. So an example of one of the very common one is browser stack. You also have Bitbar, and we'll look at a couple of them shortly, right? Now, so they are just like virtual devices, right? Yeah, and can the person sharing their camera turn it off? You're distracting me. So these are devices that are hosted in the cloud, you know, and you know, so you have to pay for them to use them. Some of them have free trials and all that. Yeah. So now the thing is that now the downside of this thing is that because they are hosted in the cloud. Yeah, somebody's asking Gmail and Yahoo, they fall under hybrid app. Yeah, yes, they do, because you can access them both on the you can download them onto your phone and access them on the web browser. Yeah, that's correct. And so because you have access to it as you put on web mobile, why does it? No, I never said Gmail and Yahoo. Yeah, I said Gmail. So Gmail can be a web app. It can also be a native app as well, because you can download them onto your device and you can access it from your web browser. Yeah. So that's so now. So the thing is that because you have all these devices, right? That are hosted on the cloud, there's going to be, you know, there are a few challenges to them, and one of the challenges, some of the challenges are, you know, you cannot actually access them. You cannot simulate like human. You cannot simulate things like, you know, human interaction, you know, the kind of things that you would normally do on your mobile phone. So because, you know, you don't have access to them, you know, they are hosted somewhere and all that. All right. So yeah. So while we are just looking at that quickly, I was going to quickly share something, but it's not ready. When it's ready, I'll share it. So so there are so many challenges there are so many challenges for mobile testing, right? So some of the challenges include which device do we need to test? So as I said to you, you have a dating app for age that have your customers are between the age of 18 and 70 or 100 or whatever. Now, you see, so those people that are kind of old, they might retain their phone for 10 years, 5 years, 6 years. But people that are like 18 years old, they change their phone every year or every 2 years. So there's this, you know, challenge of, okay, which kind of phones do we prioritize? So these are the kind of things that you need to put into consideration. Which version is also important, right? So the things, and also the challenges, things that you need to look at is, okay, you are developing a native app. Okay, how can we simulate network connectivity? You cannot just stop data. You can turn off your data, you can turn off your Wi-Fi, you cannot turn off 4G or 5G or 3G or whatever. So these are the kind of things that you have to take into consideration. So now, different apps play important role in testing, resulting in so different apps, you use them for various things, and like e-commerce, financial apps, and all that. So you have to take into consideration things like risk-based testing. So I'm sure that you would come across that in the course of the internship and this training and your testing training. And also things like settings and configuration. You want to change orientation. You want to check different things. Maybe when the display is dark. You want to see. So just imagining how many things you can do on your phone. So, like if you have 100 people, they use their phones in different ways. You want to test this application, in as much as possible to fit those 100 people. These are the kind of things that you would take into consideration and all that. So there are many testing tools, right? And also, you might, so for instance, now, if you have a job, as a mobile tester or whatever, they're asking you, okay, we are displaying this app. Can you tell us the challenges? I've listed them for you. So I've listed some of them for you. There are a lot more, but these are some of the things that you take into consideration. You also need to take into consideration things like, okay, which kind of tool do I want to use? There are so many tools out there. The very, very, how will I say it? The ones that are quite known are Appium, Source Labs, Calabash. But Appium is, if you know how to use Appium, whatever, I'm sure that you'll be someone that people want to work with. So test strategies to testing on real devices. How often do you test, and your set device and operating system? So now, one thing that I just want to mention for you, that will help you is that, for instance, if you are working in government projects, right? Government projects, there's a standard that every government project will follow. So they make it quite easy for people, they make it quite easy for testers, because they give you a guideline of, okay, this is the minimum these are the minimum devices that you need to test for your application to pass and be deployed for people to use. So for instance, in the UK, the government, they have something they call the government digital government design standard, right? If you Google it, GDS, right? Standards. So they give you like, a list of, I think, a list of devices under iOS, under Android, I think under Windows as well. And they also tell you the kinds of browsers that you need to test on, the kind of browsers that you need to test on: Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and I think Windows 11 or something like that. So they make the work easier for you, because they already help you to reduce the number of sizes of things that you need to watch out for. So as I was saying earlier, so you have to test on real devices. Think about the testing strategy that you want to use. And then you also need to think about things like adequate test coverage and all that. So, all right, so, and so delving into other things, so I think I mentioned all these things, right? So this is more like a crash introduction. So you have to also think about automation as well. So despite the fact that you are testing, you want to do your test, you need to think about automation. Automation is using code to test often and test fast, right? So you have to think about your automation strategy, what programming language you want to use, what tool do you want to use, how do you want to achieve that, and all that. Then things like, so basically the things that you need to think about are, the functionality, right? You also need to think about the functionality, things like, so for instance, when I say functionality, when you log in into your, let's say you download Amazon onto as a native app, or you, okay, for instance, we all have mobile, we all have banking applications on our phone. Functionality wise, the business flow, you log in, it authenticates you, takes you to your accounts page. You can see your account balances and all that, right? And also the things like you also need to think about non-functional things like the security of the application. So how secure is that? So so we are now breaking it back into different parts of things that you need to think about. So the functional part, I've talked about that, which is orientation, display, the non-functional parts, the security part, the accessibility part. You want to, okay, all right, people that have impairment, high impairment, can they, zoom out or zoom in? You want to look at, okay, people that do have hearing problems, how do they navigate through the app? So, I think Google has voiceover. Sorry, Apple and Apple products have voiceover. So you can use voiceover to read text on your Apple phones and all that. So, and then you want to think about performance issues and availability. So you want to think about, all right, we've deployed this app into Google Store. Okay, so let's say that 1 million people are accessing the app at once. What happens to the application? Because the application is sitting on your phone, right? It is using your phone as an environment, as a base environment to work. But it's also connecting to remote server, things like that. So, and then using those information, exchanging information between your phone and the remote server and the cloud and all that. So you want to think about performance and all that. And then you also want to think about integrate API testing. So you can see that mobile testing also integrates into API testing. You want to talk about, okay, if you different functionalities, different systems within. So for instance, if you let's quickly talk about API testing. For instance, you have your when you log in into your phone app, right? Your phone connects to a server somewhere. So that server is an endpoint, is an API that your phone is talking to, right? So your phone will talk to your banking application. Your phone will talk to some middleware. So there's some, maybe between your phone and your banking app, there is also Vodafone. There is O3 or whatever they call your O2 or whatever. So your phone will talk to a variety of endpoints to get information. So so there are things that are middlemen or middleware in between those things. The phone wants to talk to them, so they exchange. So they all have like addresses, right? So you want to talk to talk to Vodafone. Vodafone has their own address. That is an API. It is exchanging information. So your phone will send it to maybe Vodafone server. Vodafone server will take that information and send it to your banking application. And within your banking application, there are smaller units that talk to each other to give you that information that you want. So those are called APIs. So those are the kind of things that you also need to test. And then for mobile application, right? I hope I'm making sense. I don't know whether if I'm making sense. If people can just like give it thumbs up if they really understand what I'm talking about, or I'm just talking to myself. If you can say yes, so just type yes so I know that you're there. If you're enjoying this course, can you type yes or no? People are not typing. I don't know whether people are here. Okay. All right, cool. So basically, those are the kind of things that you need to think about, right? So yeah, I was going to say something before I did that. So you also need to look at the API between your phone. So you are looking at a small device, right? But in between your device and your application, right? They are also talking to each other. So the components, the application that you have downloaded onto your phone, and also your phone, they are talking to each other. So those are kind of things that. And that's where it comes to things like you want to check how your phone will perform under 3G, 4G, I'm just breaking down into nitty-gritty, right? 4G, and all that. But sometimes, depending on the kind of application you're working on, you might not have to break it down into that kind of nitty-gritty. But I'll show you something that would help you. Yeah, I think we've talked about these categories we talked about functional performance, memory testing, interruption, you want to test your application when there's a phone call coming through or SMS message. Does it crash and all that? All right, so we talked about testing tools as well, Appium, using, so let me just talk about this because this is a very common tool that a lot of companies use, and also it serves as a client. It serves as it, for instance, Browser Stack uses Appium as a middleware to talk to between the clouds, between your code and the devices hosted in the cloud. Appium serves as a middleman. You're right. So Appium is an open source cross-platform test automation framework to use with native, hybrid, and mobile apps. So you can use it to drive iOS and Android apps using the WebDriver protocol. So when I was saying that it serves as a middleware. So you have for those of us that know automation, right? You have Selenium code. So let me just do something quickly. Let me just share a couple of more screens. Just bear with me. So yeah, I think okay. Let me just share. So let me just share my screen first. So this is yeah. So if you can look at what I'm trying to do here. Yeah. So this is more like Selenium, right? So this is code, right? So between this code and let's go back to our yeah. Between this code and something else, and then something else, and browser stuff. Just bear with me again, please. So between the code I showed you and the cloud system. So just hold on. I want to share the cloud system, but I need to do something first. Just bear with me. I'm just trying to arrange how to share my screen. All right. So all right. So okay. So right. So if you look at my screen, right, between the code I showed you earlier, and this is we'll come to this, but I just want to show you something quickly. So between right, so this we were talking about devices that are in the cloud, right? Between that your code that I've shown you earlier and this system in the cloud, there's a middleware. Yeah, can everybody hear me? Someone said they cannot hear me at all. Yeah, can you hear me? All right, that's fine. Okay. All right. So between that and between the all right. So between the code and between the cloud system I showed you now, there is a middleman, and this is called Appium, right? So it helps you to drive your code and takes it to the talk. It takes your code from your Selenium code to your cloud system, and then it takes it back, and then it helps you to drive your test. For those that know what black box testing is, right? It's a black box tool. So for those of you that are new to testing, you need to go and Google what a black box tool is. So basically, a black box tool is more something that you don't know the inner workings of the code. So for instance, if they give you a television to test, right? Yeah, you don't know what is inside that panel between the front and the back. Yours is to test the TV and say, okay, all right, Mr. TV, when I press the on button, it goes on. When I press the remote, it goes up and down, right? So that's the black box testing, right? So the other side of it is called white box testing. White box is they know what is between the panel and the plastics that you see, the display, the panel, and the back. They understand what is in between. That's white box, right? But black box is, so for most testers, right? Testers, what we do is we do black box testing, but developers do white box testing because they understand the inner workings of the code. but we don't understand the inner workings of the code. We just want to do more like system testing, testing the system, integration of the system and all that. All right, so yeah. So I think the recording of this class will be on YouTube at some point. So you can check maybe tomorrow. So so you don't need to understand the source code of the application is not needed, and the information like gathering. So you only need to write your Selenium. You only need to understand how to connect to your Appium server, and then Appium server talks to your cloud system and all that. All right. So Appium. So if I were you, I would go on Google Appium and read about it. So other flavors are Source Labs. Yeah, I think if you go onto YouTube for Blue Sky Studio, I think we've had some mobile testing, maybe like some few years ago, we had a series of trainings on mobile testing. You can go and watch that to understand. I think we delved into all these things in much more details. So Source Lab is also like Appium is a cloud-based testing for native apps and hybrid apps on iOS and Android. It is also based on Appium. So you see that Appium is like someone that everybody likes, because everybody's like, okay, I'm going to work, but I'm going to use Appium. Appium is highly sought after. Everyone uses Appium. So it's also, you can scale to, it supports scaling on, scale to hundreds and thousands of devices, simulators and emulators. Yeah, so you can also, you also have, you also have free version and paid version and all that. So you can also read about it. So CTest Cloud is also another one that is well known. It supports UI testing, which is user interface testing and continuous integration environment testing and all that. Right. So it's a fully commercial product. I think this one you have to buy to use it. All right. So let's quickly do some more interesting stuff. So I'll just take you through BitBar. So BitBar is also I'll share my screen now. So all right, so I hope you can see my screen. This is an application called BitBar, right? So if we Google it, right, let's Google what BitBar is so that I don't just tell you something, So what is BitBar? Yeah. All right, so you can see my screen, right? So it says BitBar is a mobile app testing platform which provides the following approach to testing: live testing or manual testing. So it allows you to have manual access to real devices and troubleshoot issues reported by customers and verified, blah, blah, blah. All right. So basically, I've been talking about devices, you not being able to have all those devices that you need to have to. My screen is available now because I'm showing something. Can you not see my screen? Are you unable to see my screen? I'm sharing. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So earlier I spoke about the challenges of buying. Imagine buying Apple iPhone 7, SE, Nexus Android, all these things. Imagine if you have to, so let's say your company is so rich, right? Yeah, they are so rich and they say, okay, Mr. John, go and test all these devices, right? Can you see that? So even if they give you all these 1,000 or whatever devices, are you going to be able to test them? You cannot be carrying, you have like a room full of devices and then you carry iPhone 7 and test and you carry this one and test. So rather than doing that, right, this cloud system, BitBar, so, I think I spoke about Source Lab and Experitest or CTest Cloud as well recently. So all these cloud applications help you to be, they overcome that challenge of companies having to buy different versions of phones to test. So these are devices that are stored in the cloud, right? So they are actual real devices, right? So they are stored somewhere in the cloud. So these applications give you access to these devices. You know, you can buy them. You can buy a commercial version of the application, of this Bitbar application, and then you'll be able to have access to, you know, any kind of device that you have, right? So, but I'm using the free version, so I think I already have access to about 60 devices, right? So within the device groups, you have Android devices. So if I narrow it down to Android, it's only showing Android devices, right? Or it's still showing iOS. So, well, but it's supposed to do, okay, no, I didn't do something. I didn't apply filter. I don't know, sorry, man. So you can see that it's only Android is showing you. So you can, you know, pick anything that you want, and then you have some trial device and you have some desktop as well. So if I apply desktop, okay, there's nothing found in desktop. Okay, so that's fine. So we understand that it has device groups. Now, location as well. So you can pick your location, right? So there's something they call latency. So latency is, so the closer you are to a location, so in AWS, they call them availability zones, right? But so most of these applications, they use, you know, things like AWS as their server and all that. So this EU means that, okay, they have a server, right? Maybe located in London, or maybe in Belgium, or it could be in Ireland, or it could be anywhere. And this is another location, you know, they could have, you know, some of their phones in stored on a server in maybe in Chicago, or, you know, wherever in America, right? So, but the thing is just that the closer you are to some of these servers, the better the, you know, interaction that you have, right? So that's why they gave you this option. You can choose EU, apply filters. Let's see. Yeah, so these devices are available in EU, right? And then, you know, let's check US. You see, so you can see that 90. You can see that, you see, because I'm in Europe, right? I don't even have access to any of the devices in America, in the US. So, okay, so that's another thing of, you know, you guys have learned tonight, availability zones, right? So in terms of the browsers, right? So as I said to you, you know, when you are doing mobile testing, right? I would also say that you can also call mobile testing compatibility testing. So compatibility testing is, you know, is wider. So mobile testing focuses on mobile applications, right? But compatibility testing focuses on how compatible is your application on, you know, browsers, operating systems, and platforms, different platforms, right? Yeah. So when it comes to compatibility testing, so mobile testing is a subset of compatibility testing. So don't be confused. Yeah. So, but I'm giving you additional info on this one now. So in terms of compatibility testing, you know, you have different browsers you can also test on, right? Now, you now want to, okay, so let's say you are doing a mobile testing, right? Android version, you know, as I said to you, you have a dating app for age 18 to people that can register on that dating app is from age 18, right? To 100 or 1000, you know, whatever. Now, you have a wide age group, right? Some people they don't like changing their phones. Some people like to change, they like to have 2 phones in a year. Some people like 1 phone in 10 years, right? So let's say those people that have 1 phone in 10 years, they might be using Android version 4. And so somebody else that likes to change their phone every year might be using Android version 13, right? So, and they're all using your app. So you need to test, you need to at least, okay, let's say the kind of operating system for version 4.42 will be slightly different from 7.71, and 7.71 might be similar to 9, and then 9 might be different to 13. So in this kind of scenario, you want to, you know, have a wide test coverage. You might test the recent applicant one, you might test 13, you might go to the middle and just pick 7, and then you can just test like 4, right? Here you get. So if I pick Android version 13, 7, and 4, yeah, and I apply it, So okay, so yeah, so that means that these Motorola Nexus can only take those so that means that these operators, these Android versions, these Motorola can have either of them. You can have 13.7 or 4, right? So the same thing goes for iOS versions as well. The same similar approach. You need to consider that manufacturer as well. They also give us all these ones. Now CPU. Now it now becomes much more like finer grains of the kind of test strategy that you need to adopt. You can do this, depending on, what most times you don't have to, go into all these finer details, but, it's something to consider. So if you go for an interview, you can talk about all these things. Oh, I've used Bitbuy before. This is what it gives me. This is blah, blah, blah. So API level as well. So if you are doing, I think Android version, you need to think about API level as well. So Android version, talks about, they use API level, and also they use the Android level as well. So I think the API level is, something that you can also Google, and understand more. So RAM, we all know what RAM size is, right? So some other finer details that you might want to check out. RAM size, you want to test on a big RAM and a small RAM. So let's say you want to, some I've seen a phone that has got 4 RAM GB. I've actually seen a phone that's got 2 RAM memory size, right? So let's say I want to deploy the dating app to a phone that is of 2 gig RAM, right? How will they perform? So I need to check 2 gig. I need to check the best gig. Maybe it is which one is the best one? 12 gig or whatever. So I need to check on the best gig and also the smallest of the RAM. So the same thing goes for internal storage structure. So that, to be honest, there are so many things: screen resolution, screen size, camera stuff, pixels, portrait, landscape. Those are so many things to consider. So many things. So that's that one. So at least you have an understanding of. Let's clear this filter. You have an understanding of. So these are real devices. So if I go into one of them, it's connecting to that device. So it's connecting to Apple 7 now, right? Yeah. So this is actually. So I'm actually. How will I call it? I'm actually opening iPhone 7 on a cloud server somewhere. I'm actually looking at the real device. So if I press, it might be a bit slow because it has to take the information to wherever it is. Yeah. So, but yeah. But normally it should respond or something like that. So press okay. Yeah. So if I well, normally it responds anyway. I don't know. You can open up a free account and check it out or something. So if I okay, you can save screenshots. You save my screenshots. Okay. So whatever. It's a free version I'm using. So let me just quickly just through this. So you can test this out in your own time. Reconnect. No, I'm not reconnecting. So I've showed you that one. So you have a dashboard. You can create automated tests. So when we look at this automated test, right? Let's speak this one. So I told you that Mr. Appium is very, very well liked, right? As in well liked. You can see. So the client side framework. So it's a framework on its own, right? So don't be confused for people that are just new to this, right? It's not something you can learn in a day. But what we are just trying to do here is we are trying to tell you, these are the kind of things you can learn. And I've seen people come on this training, they learn this thing, and they don't even get testing job as in to be they get mobile testing roles as in mobile testing. Their first job, mobile tester. So you can. So this is Appium. This is XC tests. XQ test as well. So I think Android, and there's this Flutter one as well. So I think this XQ test is more of Android or something. So Xcode, yeah. Sorry, it's not more of Android. It's more of iOS or something like that. iOS. So yeah, so you can. So these are testing framework. But let's try the Appium one. Appium is more like a middleman. You can use it for both Android and iOS devices. So you can upload a file. So if you have an APK, so if you, for instance, if you choose Android, you can upload and you choose. Let's choose this one. Let's choose Android server. So you can, if you have an APK, we all remember what APK is. You can upload your own APK or use their samples. So this is I'm using one of their samples. You can, and then so basically this is the application. This is the native app. The native app that we are testing. These are the native apps that we are testing. So I'm using their own samples. Or if you have an APK, you can upload it to the server. And then, so to be honest, you can then choose and then run. If you run, it will start running your whatever for you. So you can see that it is running. So it is running. We have it is running on 2 devices, right? 2 devices. And if I click on the first one, yeah, so it is telling me my duration of the device time, blah, 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 and it will take screenshots and all that. So, you can quickly just go into this. Is it free? Just go to this website. I'll put it on the chat bar. You can go to this website and then you can just, you can go and create a free account. You don't need any credit card or whatever. You can go and check it out. Just go and play around with it. That's it. So play around. I've sent it to the chat. People can do that. So you can just play around with it. Let's move on to something else. All right. So another well-known stuff is browser stack. Browser stack. So if you Google what is browser stack, so browser stack gives you instant access to real devices. So it's also similar to the one that we saw earlier, this Bitbar, but it's another flavor of cloud app. So it gives us access to real devices, real device cloud for web and app testing. Yeah. So yeah. So you know what? I've worked in a place where it's actually a big company where I had a friend, so I was doing something else, but that my friend was doing was testing the app on the mobile devices. So in their device lab, man, you see like Android phones. The guy had a box full of different phones, as in box full of different phones. So all he just does is that he writes his test case. He's looking at his computer. He's holding the phone. He's running the app on the phone, and then he's marking it expected or actual, raising bugs like that. So, but with browser stack, you don't have to do that anymore. You have all your devices in the cloud and all that. So let's quickly just dive into a browser stack. So with browser stack, if you go into their products, you have the live cross-browser testing sessions. All right, so it's also similar to Bitbar. You can pick iPhone 11. So let's pick iPhone, drag to quick launch. Where's the quick launch? Okay. Okay, got it. Yeah, so that's fine. So this is drag a browser here to add quick launch. Okay, I don't know. Let's just pick this one. So it says so starting real blah blah blah, setting up connection and all that. So this is yeah, so this is logged me into, but this is not what I really wanted to do. Okay, it's logged me into something, but I don't really want to do this. So I actually do not want a browser, so I want a mobile device. Just bear with me. Live cross browsing. Okay, yeah. So this is what I wanted. All right, cool. So it's connecting me to an iPhone 11 and the Chrome browser, right? So you see that it will load the same website I loaded earlier. So exactly. So this is a website that I was playing with I think yesterday or something. So So basically, if you have to do a manual testing on an application on the website, you can, rather than having mobile phones physically all over your table, you can use this. So if you can zoom out, you can zoom in, you can report a bug, you can do local testing. So if you want to if you want to test something that is an application that is running locally on your machine, you can do that. You can change location as well. So you can use location that are closer for you to do your whatever. So you can rotate the device, report a bug. Okay, so that's all that. So I'm using the free version. So can you see that? Can you see my screen? It says the location is in Ireland. So it is picking an iPhone that is close to me. So the closer to you, the better the quality. So we can play with that. I think we can play with that. All right. So we have 5 more minutes on mobile devices. So I'll show you something quickly, just to wrap up this session on mobile testing. All right. So you can see my screen. Can you still see my screen? Can you still see my screen, please? Say yes, if you can. All right, cool. So, I said, so basically with all these things, with these devices that, with these cloud applications that I've shown you, right, you can actually write Java code, right? So I think this training that we are doing this time around is more focused on Java, right? And to be honest, I don't want to go into real details. I don't want to scare people or confuse people, but I'll just do a walkthrough of this code for you. It might not make sense to a lot of people, but it's something that you can do over time. As you learn, you can understand and do this as well. So I haven't written all this. I've just copied this from, but you can write your own as well. I think I used to have one. I wrote one for myself. So this is an old project which I wrote. Well, it doesn't. I think the reason why it doesn't work. I was going to run this for everybody to see, but the reason why it doesn't work is because okay, you have to load an app, right? You have to load an app so for instance, if you are loading if you're downloading Amazon application or your banking application to your phone, so you have to navigate to a particular application on that phone for you to be able to run some tests, right? So for instance, in this particular scenario, we have, let me just use this. 1 second, let me use this. This will make more sense for you. All right, so how do we connect? So basically the whole idea is that I want to write a code, right? That will go to browser stack. So because I have the device, I don't have the physical devices. If you go and watch some of our old videos, as in some of our old videos, I will ask you to do that because it will help you. I used to do this mobile testing training using a physical device, right? And I would connect it to my laptop. So I think the videos are on our YouTube on Blue Sky Startups. You can watch them. I would connect it to a Samsung phone. The Samsung phone I would now use an application or plugin to display the phone screen on somewhere on my screen like this on one side of my screen. And then I would write my code and I will start the RPM server. And then the RPM server will send my code to the phone, and then my phone will start, carrying out the instructions I've asked you to do. Maybe open BBC, open Google, type in my name, do this and all that. But these days, with Bitbar, things like applications like Bitbar and browser stack, you don't have to do all that. You really don't have to do all that. You really don't have to do all that. So, so this particular test, right? So when you set up an account with in browser stack will give you something called an access key, right? With your username and your it's give you a username. When you put it will give you your username and then an access key. So that access key will enable you to talk to the browser stack API. So it uses what they call. We'll go into API testing in shortly. So it will make you to, it will identify who you are, just like username and password, and say, okay, create me a remote session in browser stack, right? So that is what we have here. So this is my access key. And you have something they call capability, set capabilities, right? And for you to talk to a remote agent, so I'm sure that this is just, we are still, a lot of us are still at the inception of this training. So you might not really understand what I'm doing, but just pay attention. You also can do it. If you are using Selenium to talk to a remote, let's say a remote application, right? You use something they call desired capabilities, right? Yeah. So which is different from when you want to run a Chrome browser on your machine, right? Yeah. Now, so if you are, so you use desired capabilities, and so it takes, so you create an instance of that desired capability. So if I go into it, right, can you see it says open QA Selenium remote. When you want to use Selenium to talk to a remote server, you use desired capabilities. Now, within that desired capabilities, right? So the desired capabilities is like the umbrella, right? So Mr. Desired capability will carry some instructions to that remote server and say, okay, tell me, it will carry, and so within that instruction, it will set you your username and your password, right? It will carry instruction of your username. It will tell the remote server who you are with the username and password. It will then tell the remote server, okay, I want to talk to Google device version 9 here, and I want to click on device with this reference, right? So that's basically what we are doing here, right? And then you want to just have some data. Some of them is like some data that you want to use to identify that session you are creating. So you can call it anything. You can call it my 100 or your 1000 Java project or your whatever. You can call it anything. And then you want to give it a build name, maybe build 1, build 2, build 3. You can write some code so that every time you run it, the build number increases and all that. And then you want to name your test. Maybe so let's say this application is calculator application. You might want to say testing calculator. That's the name, right? Now, we want to use, so because we are talking to an Android device, right? We want to use an agent, an agent within. So Mr. Capability, yeah, has an agent, yeah, and a driver, right? So the agent is called a driver. So that driver is called the Android driver, yeah? So it will help you to drive your test. So for those that know Selenium, you have something they call web driver. So if I click into this, right, if I open it up, can you see? Yeah. So this Android driver has many children. Yeah. You can press key, you can start activity, you can find these, you can load device, it has so many things that Mr. Driver can do for you. Yeah. That's what it says. It can help you to find elements. Yeah. Mr. Driver can do quite a lot of things, right? So Mr. Driver will now help you drive your tests, yeah? And then Mr. Driver will make use of a child called Android Elements, yeah? So as time goes on, you will understand what elements are. So if you want to click on something, you need to use an element. You need to find that element, yeah? This Android Driver would help you to click on it. You have to find the elements and then click on it. And then you have to assign a driver to the Mr. Android driver. You have to create it a driver variable, right? And then when you create a driver variable, then you have to say, okay, because Mr. Driver is because I want to work on, I want to click on my calculator in a remote website, yeah? Because the website is not hosted on my computer. So you have to call the browser stack API, which is this one. So the browser stack URL or API, and it has this kind of, when you see WD hub, something like, I can't remember what the WD means, but it means something. I can't remember what it is. So driver would now then, after you've gone on the application, your calculator application or whatever application you can, let's say you want to click on something called next or next. So this is basically, I think I was clicking, I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was clicking on next. So for instance, so on this one, I think I went to, I can't remember the application, but I clicked on, I was saying, okay, I want to click on next 3 times. So this is Mr. Driver will help me to click on next. So I did it 3 times, 1, 2, 3. I clicked it 3 times. So maybe I opened up the application and then I clicked 1, 2, 3. I click next, next, next. This kind of application that you have, like when you open them, they have something like next, next, next. You have to, until you get to the main page. So when I got to that main page, I told driver to help me to click on so I think the email, whatever, click on email and then help me to send my name, my email address, and then my password, and then click the button. So the driver is the one doing it for me. But that my driver is using the Android driver. Yeah. Now, and then I said, okay, do something else for me, right? Get me, if I don't do something, if I've entered the wrong password, get me the error. That's why I'm storing it in this place. I'm storing the error in in this variable, as a string in this variable, right? And then I do some things, blah, 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 and then I ask it to stop, right? So that's basically it, right? So what I just want to show you is this, right? I will click on, so this one, right? So if you look at this video, let's just quickly look at this video. It's a very short one anyway. So this is what he did. So if you look at it, right, he opened up Wikipedia, and then I think he searched for something, browser stack, right? And then it lists those things that are under browser stack, whatever. And then I think it closes up or something, right? So that was what that test that test did. So this is the test that did all that. So that test was from here, this browser stack sample, right? So the application that I opened up is of this has this code. This is the this code represents the application here. And then we've gone through all this data, and then it opens up. It uses Android elements as well, and then it's searching for something. So it's searching for something. Search Wikipedia. So it clicks on search Wikipedia, and then it does send keys. So yeah, it typed in browser stack. So it's typed in browser stack, and then it says, okay, when I type in browser stack, it returns me a list of items that are, what did it return? Oh God, what am I opening? So return, yeah. So it clicks on, it typed in browser stack, and it says that my result is not 0. The result is not 0. This is greater than 0. So it gives me a list of products. It gives me an item, a list of results that is greater than 0, and then it shuts it down to the server. So I'll just quickly play this for you, and then you see. And then while I'm playing this, so you can see that it is playing up. I'm running the wrong test. Sorry, I'm running the wrong test. This one would not work for a reason which I know. So if I play this one, right, yeah. So this is starting to build. The project has to compile. So you can see that it is playing. And if I go to my browser stack stuff, if I go to my browser stack dashboard, if I click on my dashboard, so can you see that it's starting to say running something, where is it? Yeah, yes. Can you see? So it is running something. Yeah. It is running something. So it is running the code that I'm sending from here. This code that I'm sending from here, it is running it here. Yeah. So if I go into it, right? So can you see? Yeah, it's still it may have finished. Yeah, it's finished. It's finished. All right. So let's do something quick. Let's just quickly do something. So let's say that it comes to Wikipedia and it searches for Apple, right? So I'm tempted to do something as well. I'm tempted to do something as well. So let's pick another device. So sorry, this is I hope you guys are understanding what we are doing, or you can play with this. We can, to be honest, you can start by just going to Browser Stack and reading up the documentation on it, and it's easy, it's straightforward. Has anyone got any question while we are waiting for this to open up? I need to do something. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So let us change the device. Okay, it's only giving us Android. Okay. So let us say that we want to run on Samsung Galaxy S21, right? So you can see that it is it's actually very easy. It helps you to build everything. So this is all I just want to copy and change. So if I go back to my code, I just need to change this one, right? And put something else there. And then I wanted to search for, I wanted to go to Wikipedia and then search Apple. So I've changed this to Apple now. So I wanted to search for Apple in that Wikipedia. Okay, and I wanted to say that the size is not there. So let us run it again. So it's open up a new device for us now. So this is starting to build. Okay, so now, and if I go here, so it started now, yeah, you can see that it started now. So you can see that it's Samsung Galaxy S21. Yeah, it says recording will be available shortly. Yeah, so you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Now, if I play it right, yeah, you can see that you searched for Apple. You search for Apple and then you list all the things that are there. So yeah, that's basically so you can just play around with it. It gives you so you can see all the stuff, right? It gives you a lot of metadata and stuff, Chrome option, blah blah blah, all these things, so many things and device, whatever. So and then you can share I think you can share the stuff. All right, so that brings us to the end of the mobile session for tonight.